Welcome back to another episode of Nothing to Hide, straight talk source for everything commercial real estate. I'm Harrison Hyde, commercial broker in Long Beach and the greater Los Angeles market, helping guide owners, investors, and tenants with the sale, purchase, and leasing of their commercial assets. Today we're going to get into the numbers and basic financial calculations to help assess if a commercial deal makes sense. Cap rates, NOI, cash-on-cash returns, debt service coverage ratios, LTV. I know, it sounds like I'm reciting the alphabet backwards. And if you've ever sat in a meeting with a broker or lender and nodded along pretending you understood every single thing they said, this video is for you. Because here's the truth. The math in commercial real estate is not that hard. It just sounds hard because nobody takes the time to explain it in plain English. Today I'm going to change that. By the end of this video, you'll understand a few of the major financial metrics used in commercial real estate. And more importantly, you'll know why each one matters and how to actually use it. Let's get into it. Foundation, net operating income. Before we can talk about any other number, we need to understand NOI. Think of NOI as the foundation of a commercial real estate deal. Everything else we discussed today is built on top of it. So what is it? Simple. NOI equals all the income a property generates minus all operating expenses. For instance, say you own a small apartment building that brings in $200,000 per year in rent, but you have expenses which are property taxes, insurance, property maintenance, management fees. Those all total up to $80,000 per year. Your NOI is $200,000 income minus the $80,000 expenses, which brings it to $120,000. Now here's the key thing. Notice what I did not include in those expenses. I didn't subtract your mortgage payment. NOI is calculated before debt service. That's intentional and important. We'll come back to why in a minute. NOI tells you how much a property earns purely based off of its operations, regardless of how you financed it. It's a universal measuring stick that lets you compare properties apples to apples. If a property has strong NOI, it's a strong asset with more value. Weak NOI, the deal's going to be tough no matter how you structure it. Now that you understand NOI, let's talk about capitalization rate, or just cap rate. Cap rate is probably the most commonly used term in commercial real estate, and it answers one simple question. If I paid all cash for this property, what would my annual return be? The formula is pretty straightforward. Cap rate equals the NOI divided by the property value. Going back to our previous example, property has an NOI of $120,000. If the asking price is $1.5 million, then $120,000 divided by $1.5 million is an 8% cap. That means if you bought the building outright with no mortgage, you'd earn an 8% return on your investment every year. Now, cap rates also work in reverse. If you know the NOI and you know the cap rate in the market, you could figure out what the property's value is worth. Property value equals NOI divided by the cap rate. So if the market cap rate is 6% and your property produces $120,000 in NOI, your property is worth $2 million. This is also called the income approach to valuation, and it's how most commercial properties are priced. One more thing about cap rates, they move inversely with value. A lower cap rate means higher value. So when somebody says cap rates are compressing, that means that property values are actually going up. On the flip side, when cap rates expand, value goes down. Remember that. All right, so the cap rate is great for evaluating property on a pure all-cash basis. But most of us are buying commercial real estate with a suitcase full of cash. We're getting a note for the property. That's where cash-on-cash return comes in. Cash-on-cash answers a slightly different question. What return am I getting on the actual cash I put in after I pay my loan? Formula is simple. It's annual pre-tax cash flow divided by your total cash investment. To get your annual cash flow, you take the NOI, subtract your annual mortgage payment, also known as your debt service. Let's say our property is $1.5 million and has an NOI of $120,000. If you put 30% down, that's $450,000 out of pocket. Let's say our $1.5 million property has an NOI of $120,000. You put down 30%, which is $450,000. You get a remaining note for $1.5 million at a 7% interest over 25 years. The mortgage payment comes out to roughly $88,000 a year. So our annual cash flow is $120,000 minus $88,000, which is $32,000. Your cash-on-cash return, $450 invested, is about 7.1%. Now compare that 7.1% to an 8% cap rate. Cap rate's higher because it doesn't consider the cost of debt in our returns. If you leverage, the reality is that you can amplify things, but it also produces risk. If cap rate and cash on cash are investors' tool, then the debt service coverage ratio, or DSCR, is the lender's tool. When a bank is deciding whether to give you a loan on the commercial property, this is one of the first things that they look at. And if you're going to borrow money, you need to understand how they're evaluating you. DSCR measures whether the property generates enough income to cover its mortgage payments. DSCR is the NOI divided by annual debt service. Using our numbers previously, 120,000 divided by 88,000 is DSCR 136. Most lenders require a DSCR of 1.2 to 1.25. Anything below 1.0 means the property can't even cover its own loan payments. That's a hard no for many lenders. The higher the DSCR, the safer the loan looks. A DSCR of 1.5 or higher, lenders get excited. DSCR of 1.1 or lower, they get nervous. Before you even walk to the bank, calculate this number yourself. It tells you immediately whether the deal can get financed, and it saves everyone time. Last major metric is loan-to-value ratio, or LTV. This one's the simplest of the group. It's your loan amount divided by the property value. Say your property's worth $1.5 million and you're borrowing $1,050,000. Your LTV for the $1,050,000 is 70%. Lenders use LTV to measure the risk. The lower the LTV, the more equity you have in the deal, and the less risk the bank is taking. Most commercial lenders want to see an LTV at least 65 to 75%. Why does this matter to you as an investor? Because your LTV determines how much cash you need to put down. 70% LTV means you need to have 30% down. It also tells your equity position from day one. The more equity you have going in, the more cushion you have if the market shifts or the property underperforms. Some lenders will go up 80% LTV with strong deals with experienced borrowers, but you typically see higher interest rates and stricter DSCRs required to compensate. Let's bring everything together with one clean deal. You find a retail shopping center listed for $2 million. The listing shows an NOI of $140,000 and you plan to put 30% down. That's $600,000. You're financing the rest of the purchase at $1.4 million at 7% for 25 years. Annual cost of your debt service is about $118,000. Here's a quick breakdown in 60 seconds. For cap rate, your $140,000 of NOI divided by the purchase price of $2 million equals 7%. Your annual cash flow is $140,000 minus the $118,000 in debt, which gives you $22,000. So your cash on cash would be $22,000 divided by 600,000, which equals about 3.4. Now you have a story. Cap rate is decent at 7%, but the cash on cash returns only 3.7%. Pretty thin. And that DSCR of 1.19, most lenders want a minimum of 1.2. This deal might not qualify for financing and structure. You might need to put down more money to lower the loan amount and improve that DSCR. Knowing these numbers didn't just tell you the deal might be overpriced, it told you exactly where the problem is and gave you something to negotiate with. That's the power of understanding commercial real estate finance. Look, the investors who make money in commercial real estate aren't the ones with the most connections or the best luck. They're the ones who can look at a deal and know within minutes whether it works. NOI is the foundation. Cap rate tells you what the market thinks it's worth. Cash on cash tells you what you're exactly making on your money. DSCR tells you whether a lender will say yes. And LTV tells you your risk and your equity. That's it. You now speak the language. If you want to see me run through a real deal using all these metrics and do a full underwriting walkthrough, let me know in the comments. I'll make it happen. And if this video helped you, subscribe, because I put out content every week like this to help you build real wealth through real estate. As always, if you have any commercial needs currently or in the future, shoot me an email or call me. I'd be happy to sit down with you. I'm Harrison Hyde, and thanks again for joining us on Nothing to Hide. I'll see you on the next one.